Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm here to teach you the key concepts to help you play my game, DiTiC. Setting up a game of DiTiC couldn't be easier. The 40 coloured dice do need to just be separated into 4 colours and handed out to however many players you've got. Keep all of the dice on the table though in case they spawn during the game. The tiles all need to go in the draw bag, and I like to store the start tile separately so that it can be quickly found and popped between all the players at the beginning of the game. You can either go for the writing side on the start tile or the blank side, it doesn't affect gameplay. Let's run through the first few turns of a game of DiTiC. I'm going to model a red vs black 2-player game. I do have the white and blue die on the board just in case they spawn during the game too. Players' options are either to draw a tile from the bag or move a die during their turn. However, because there's nothing on the board yet, players are limited to drawing a tile. Let's start with the red's turn. Red's going to check both sides of the tile. Finding only red on one side, red's going to place this tile down. Tiles must be placed edge to edge. Now on to black's turn. Black again is going to check both sides. Limiting the amount of red onto the board, black's going to choose this side, placing the blacks together and tiles edge to edge. Back to red, no red there for red, no red there, very unfortunate for the red player. Red's going to go here to limit the growth of the black here and try and complete a quadrant here to generate some red. Black's turn, lots of red on that side, we don't want that if we're black, so black's going to have to go this side. Black's completing a quadrant here, which will generate level 3 dice because it's got 3 black corners and no opposing colour. Black's in the majority in that quadrant, so that generates a level 3 die. Now, because black chose to draw a tile on their turn, and now that they have a die on the board, they get to roll the action die. The action die gives a number of possibilities, like this one, which is draw and place another tile. That doesn't mean black gets another action roll, but they do get another tile onto the board. Black's going to contest this space here with the red. Back to red's turn. Red's going to draw a tile, scary lots of black on there, so red will go the other side. Now red is going to complete this quadrant here. We've got 2 red corners and no other colour opposing. Red's got the majority in that quadrant, red generates a level 2 die. Now, at the end of red's turn, because they've drawn and placed a tile, they get to roll the action die too. Let's see what happens. Red's drawn the move a tile or move a die. Now, we can't move a die because die can't go to any incomplete quadrants, the 2 is pinned in. They can slide this tile. Now, tiles can't go around corners, they can only slide along and they can't be picked up and placed anywhere else. But red's going to advantageously move this tile here to improve their chance of generating a good die there. Back to the black turn. Black can either choose to draw a tile or move 1 die. Now black in this instance might choose to move the level 3 die to take the level 2 die. That returns the level 2 die to the red player and level 3 die takes its space. The black player does not get to roll the action die however because they didn't draw a tile on this turn. Back to the red. Red's going to draw a tile, complete the quadrant, generating level 1, 2, 3 die, roll the action die because it drew a tile on this turn, drawing another tile because of the action, finding more red, placing it down, and the game continues like this. Here I'm going to demonstrate how to spawn dice at different levels. When placing tiles, 4 corners meeting creates what's called a quadrant. Looking at each quadrant, the colour in the majority gets to spawn a dice of the corresponding level. This quadrant has no colour whatsoever, so no dice will spawn. Over here we've got 1 red corner compared to 3 without any colour, so a level 1 die would spawn. Over here we've got 2 red corners vs 1 blue, 2 is in the majority of red, so the level 2 die spawns. Over here we've got 3 reds vs no other colour. Even if there was another colour, the 3 would be in the majority of red, so a level 3 die would spawn here. And we're red to place another tile here with another red corner. Red would have all 4 corners red, spawning a level 4, like so. This space here where you can see one of each colour. If, for example, white were to place like so, we only have one of each colour, no die would spawn because no colour is in the majority. Here I'm going to talk about some of the actions on the action die. You get to roll the action die after drawing and placing a tile on your turn, as long as you have at least one die on the board already. This action means that you can move one of your die or slide a tile. Now, sliding a tile means sliding at any number of spaces in a linear direction. You cannot pick it up and place it elsewhere, and you cannot go around corners. In this instance, the blue player has rolled this move. Blue player would slide the tile here, completing a quadrant of 4 and generating a blue level 3 die. This action is a rotate action, and it might be that the red player chooses to rotate this tile here, placing some of their red corners together as so. This double movement action could apply to sliding tiles, and it can apply to moving dice. You might choose to use the first of your two moves to move an opponent die. Were this the red player to have done this, red might choose to move their opponent's level 3 die and actually take the black level 2 die before moving their own die for their turn, like so. Another action is this flip action here, which means you can flip any ones of the tiles that are around the edge and not locked in like so, and you can flip any tile that doesn't already have a die sitting on one of the corners. So we might choose to flip this tile here. A white player would then pop the tile back, generating a level 2. Even though the quadrant was complete before, the majority has actually changed. It was a different colour majority, now the majority is white. So white gets the die. This action here, pretty obvious, means you don't get any special move that turn and your turn is over. And on the final side we have the draw an extra tile symbol. So the player can draw from the bag an extra tile and place it where they need to. You do not, however, get an extra roll of the action die should you have done that. Let's talk about dice movement. Dice can only move to complete quadrants, such as here, where 4 tile corners meet. Spaces like here, here and here, which are incomplete quadrants, are off limits. Level 1 dice can move one space diagonally or orthogonally along tile edges. Level 2 dice can do the same, they can move diagonally one space or orthogonally one space. And level 3 has the additional rule. As well as being able to move one space orthogonally, it can jump over any die on the board. A level 4 die can only move one space orthogonally. Similarly, so can a level 5, only moving one space orthogonally around the board. So here we just have a demonstration of how dice move to combine with other dice. Ordinarily, dice have to combine with dice of their own colour and matching number. However, there is one die with the extra ability, which is number 1, which combines with other ones or level 3 die. So let's track these combinations through. A 1 could combine with a 1 here to create a level 2 die. The 2 can jump over here, 2 and the 2 combining to make a level 3. The 3 and the 3s can combine to make a level 4, which is on the other side. A 4 can move to a 4, combining to make a level 5, and then triggering the endgame, the victory condition of 5 and a 5 combining to make a level 6. Here I'm going to demonstrate how dice can be used to take other dice from the board. When you take a dice, you simply remove it from the board and return it to the player. In this game between red and black, the red level 1 die here is vulnerable to the 2, 3, 4 or 5, all of which can move onto that red space and take that die. The black level 2 over here is vulnerable to a level 3, 4 or 5 of an opponent colour. They can just move onto the space and take that die. Down here, the red has a choice of only taking the black level 3, because 4s are actually safe from taking. To take a dice, as I've mentioned, you just move your dice onto the space, return that die to the player and pop your die to occupy that space. The win condition in DiTiC is very simple. The first player to combine their dice to create a level 6 dice is the winner. In this scenario here, between the red and the black, it's very late stages, it's red's turn. Red's going to choose to move its level 5 die one space here. Black's then going to choose to combine its 2 4s to make a level 5 here. And then red, on its turn, gets to move 5 and a 5, creating level 6 for the win. In this scenario, the black player knows that red only has one more turn until victory because the 2 5s can be combined into a level 6 for the win. Instead of moving one of his dice in the futile attempt to combine them, black player might choose instead to draw a tile and place it on the board in the hopes of rolling this action on the action die. Now this action would enable them to take 2 turns of moving, which would give them the win. Let's see if that works. And actually it did. So the black player would then go 4 and 4 into a 5, and then a 5 and 5, combining together to make a 6 in one last Hail Mary ditch attempt.